Hey, Zeke.
Yes, sir.
It's been a while since I've had you on the ads before a show, but it is June. And what's a big day that comes up in June?
Father's Day.
It is Father's Day, and it could be dad season all year long with Orca coolers. If you want a chaser, you want a camper, you want a traveler, all the things they have those whiskey barrel chasers, they have the roto-molded coolers. Zeke, you're still rocking that Georgia National Championships chaser, right?
You know it.
I say this to you because this is a sponsor I'm very comfortable with, that you use their products and love their products. So go ahead and go to orcacoolers.com, use code DADSEASON. It is Zeke approved to get 20% off your order and get your dad or yourself something great for Father's Day. Zeke, today's show is also sponsored by our friends at distilleryproducts.com. If you are a distillery, if you are a bourbon group, a blog, whatever it is, a podcast, maybe you're another podcast like us and you want laser etched custom glassware, go ahead and reach out to me. I'd love to get you in touch with the whole team over at distilleryproducts.com. They also have cool swag like flasks, stirs, bar tools, also other stuff that you can laser engrave at wholesale prices at distilleryproducts.com. Last but not least, I have this on here because we know Zeke is not doing this one and he really wants to troll me bad doing it. But I want to sell you on the Spartan Race, Zeke. I don't know if you know this. Have you ever seen the people that have the Spartan finisher tees on around ever? Have you wondered what's in a Spartan Race?
No, I can't say that I have, but if I did, I don't think it would have held my attention too long to begin with.
Well, there's 5K, 10K, half marathon, even longer races, but with obstacles along the way. There's wall climbs, rope climbs, monkey bars. We know that I'm going to go 3 monkey bars and fall, but I'm still going to do it and have fun because there is even a spear throw. So if you want to test your overall fitness, but whatever reason you want to race for, the feeling you get when you cross the finish line, the camaraderie on the course, go ahead and reach out to us. Put a date on the calendar. Let's take a Spartan Race together. All you have to do is post a video of yourself training for the Spartan Race. Use the hashtag Spartan Training, tag Spartan, and tag us at Dad's Drinking Bourbon. Then send me a screen grab. I will give you the code for the free race. Do a Spartan Race with us, or me, while Zeke watches and drinks. All right, Zeke, you got anything for me today? You're laughing. I already know this one's going to be inappropriate. So what am I going to have to cut out of this one? Zeke's just nodding his head at me and saying it's bad. So buckle up, Buttercup.
Well, with the state of society and everyone and everything. And,
pass. We're already dead. We're past this.
So bad.
You're teasing this. Unless if it's political, we're out.
I thought of this thing. I'm just going to say it. John looks at me and goes, I can't use that. What? Or you lost your mind?
I thought you were going to go Amber Heard, Johnny Depp. But if you want to keep it to the verdict, I'll let you have that. And I will just say the views of Zeke Baker are not necessarily the views of both Dad's Drinking Bourbon. Dad's Drinking Bourbon maintains that it is a neutral organization that really just likes drinking whiskey. And the only opinions we have are about whiskey. I'm really nervous. You got me putting out disclaimers.
Well, on that note, all I'm going to say is I do use the Orca cup, but I make my mezcal cocktails in there that I've been, rolling heavy on with the Cinco Sentidos for some time now. I don't know why I would ever use bourbon for that thing, but it does keep that cocktail at a perfect temp, even if I have to go into a restaurant or something.
We are so past the ads. I recorded that on a different track that I already closed out.
I know. I didn't want to say it during the ad because it would have been maybe negative. I don't know.
How is that negative? That's great.
I don't know. I was afraid you'd be like, it's not bourbon. It's the Dad Drinking Bourbon podcast, not Zeke Drinking Mezcal podcast.
When have I ever said that? We did a Mezcal episode. I'm really glad you use the Orca glass, and I'm really glad it keeps your drink cold for you.
All right, then. So we're even.
Hello, everyone. My name is John Edwards. I'm still trying to figure out what the hell that cold open was. But together, along with Zeke Baker, we make the Dad's Drinking Bourbon wherever you are, whatever time it is. Thank you for making us part of your day. All right, get it out now. What is it that you were trying to say in the tamest way you could possibly say it?
It's not tameable. It would cause wrecks, probably.
All right. Is there anything you want to say? Because you have been following the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial. Is there anything specifically you would like to say about the trial? Like,
I think it's going to get remade into like a TV show or something. Like it was amazing programming. Maybe the best thing on TV, quote unquote, if you look at like public TV in like 2 years. I can't think of anything that, basically lasted the length of a small sitcom and had that much content that people just wanted to watch almost every damn day.
I mean, there were so many different angles to the trial, and I'm trying to figure out right now, do they remake it as an American crime story like they did with the O.J. Simpson trial and have like that 10-parter thing on FX? Does this get picked up by Netflix? Does this become a movie, or does it get picked up by Amazon or Hulu? Like, where do you think the home for this is?
8 to 10 part series tops, but it's not going to be crime. I mean, I guess.
Well, no, but that's what they
committed.
But that was the name of the series, right? Because they did more than one trial. It was American Crime Story, O.J. Simpson. They did another one too, didn't they?
I mean, I don't think this would be under the crime umbrella. More like that. Whoa, that crazy umbrella.
Oh, it was American Crime Story, The People versus O.J. Simpson. So maybe it's called something different. Maybe it's called like Wine-Fueled Madness. Amber Heard.
I like mine better.
What did you say yours was? I wasn't listening to you.
Whoa, crazy.
So Ric Flair is casting this one?
That'd be a great opening spin. I don't know. But man, that was interesting. I'm just going to leave it at that.
What do you think is the more compelling storyline? Because I would love to like get the backstory behind these characters and like see what happened when Elaine went home after a day where like Camille just objected every 2 seconds and Elaine wasn't able to get a question in for Amber. Like at one point in the trial, she literally looked at Amber and was like, I'm trying. When Camille just was objection. And finally like the judge is like, listen, maybe you should say it this way, Elaine. The snickering between Johnny and his lawyer, not Camille, the male lawyer, I don't know his name, but like they would literally sit there and laugh when people said stupid things. And you got that crazy guy that licked his lips. I just want the backstory behind these characters. Like what happens when they go home after this trial?
I mean, very simply, I would just revert to a different angle of, well, the scout motto is be prepared. One side seemed very prepared and one side did not.
Fair enough. That's all you got? Like, I feel like this would have got you going.
I don't want to. It's an offline conversation. It's been a good year so far.
You have been very good this year. I think we are getting back into the swing of things. I'm finally feeling better. You can probably tell in my voice I'm feeling better. I actually have energy. I feel like the second it switched over to June, it was like, all right, that's behind me. I have a ton more energy than I did in May. I'm happy. Memorial Day weekend was good for me. Let's do this. We are drinking Elijah Craig. It is the second release in 2022 of Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, and that means it's B522. That B stands for the second release. The 5 is the month that it was released in May, and then 22 means it was 2022. Like the previous edition, this 12-year-old bourbon is non-chill filtered and uncut to preserve all the natural esters and taste components from the barrel to the bottle. The variance in proof from batch to batch is an exercise for true whiskey aficionados to taste the bourbon in its truest form. As a reminder, the first batch from this year, A122, was 120.8 proof. This one is 121. So it's not deviating a lot. It is 120.8 to 121. It's 60.5% ABV. And of course, here's where we say this no-brainer comes in at an MSRP of $59.99. If you see this retail in a store, we're not to, completely take all the wind out of the sails here. If you see this in a store at $59.99 and you don't buy it, you're a dummy. Even if you're getting it and giving it to a friend as a gift, or you're trading it, or you're doing something, but $59.99 for this, if you can find it at that, it's a no-brainer to me. I don't know how you feel about that, Zeke.
Yeah, I mean, MSRP, few things really outshine it for, in that perspective, but, in a different light and kind of scrutinizing, batch to batch and what the older ones may have been and how they compare the new ones. That's where, those of us that spend too much time talking and debating whiskey already. It gives us something fun to throw out for a little while and, have a new topic, hopefully.
Oh, 100%. And that's where the fun is on these, is that you are going to get the variance from the A, the B to the C, and you're going to get the variance in the year. There's a lot of different releases of this that you could actually have a lot of fun comparing. It is now at the point where I don't think it's feasible to do a tasting of all the Elijah Craig barrel proofs in one sitting.
Which random, and I can't remember, we may have even done this at some point. I feel like we talked about it a long time ago. But the grenades, they're what, 125 proof?
Yeah, they are.
And granted, I haven't had one in more than a hot minute, but I don't recollect ever having one that I thought truly reminded me of any of the ECBPs.
No, it is more... The crazy thing about it, it's the same mash bill and everything, right? But don't you get a little bit of spiciness in the grenade that you don't get? Like, it's like a rye spice that comes out more.
It's been a minute. I mean, but like I said, I couldn't remember if we ever actually sat down and tried to like really compare the two. But I mean, I do remember that anytime I had them over the years versus having, the regular ECBP, it's just like, well, what do y'all do different here? Like, is it different age, obviously, or something, or different rig placement that you certainly like pull, or that you pull all these from? But I mean, there's got to be some little nuance or trick to those that keeps them, with enough variance where you're like, oh, well, now that's interesting.
You ain't wrong. Anyways, what do you think about this whiskey?
So for this one, the second batch of 22, I thought that taste-wise, it was a very simple flavor, and maybe even saying flavors was kind of a reach, as funny as that sounds. But at the same time, this thing has a very big profile. To me, it was very much all in the middle of the back of the pour. It was thick. It hangs around really well, and it gets really close, but it never quite gets too hot at all. And then also, obviously, being such a big middle in the back, profile to me, I thought it had a nice, long, lingering finish as well. Again, that was, warm, but never too hot. You're drinking barrel proof whiskey. And I thought this really towed the line, especially as far as, like I say, maybe not in flavors, because I really didn't get a ton, but as far as just a big profile, big viscous pour, hits a different kind of senses, hangs around, you just feel it well, but it never got too big. It was just like right there, like, come on, step over the line. And it just never does it. You're like, all right, like, that's interesting.
So I get the normal on the nose that I get for a lot of Elijah Craig's, where you get that baking spices, brown sugar. Makes me think of food, as it should, right? As a lot of whiskey should, but it's really like the bakery food. Like, I feel like you're going to be making cookies or bread, something sweet, not too sweet. I think going back to what you were saying about the grenade, the funny thing about, ECBP versus the grenade, I get like, it's more earthy, I think, with the grenade, where you get a little more grassy rye, where this is just like a bold rye spice, black pepper in the middle. Like, I think for this one, all that flavor, like you said, I did get like a little bit of leather, a little bit of oak, and just a good pepper kick in the middle, but it never went too far. Like, it's exactly what you said. I'm not agreeing with you to agree with you, but it's like it rode the line so close where it was like, man, if it had a little bit more, that would have kicked this into, like, the proof is there. You could tell it's there. The spice is there, but it just takes it just far enough that it's still really, really good to drink. And you're like, wow, how did they let it ride the line? Like, it is just right. It's so balanced in the sense of like, little weight either way, it's going to tip over. But it is great right here. Like, it is a really good pour.
Yeah. And I mean, to me, I thought this was, sensory in a direction other than, picking up various flavors and tasting 3 to 4 to 8 different things. I really got 1 or 2, 3 core elements tops. And then I was like, well, that's what I'm getting. That's what I'm getting. I'm not going to focus. But if you switch gears and get the other sensory side, this thing lights them up. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I just thought it was kind of neat in that regard that I haven't had anything that, quite did that for me, at least in some time that I can recollect.
And when I say oak here, I mean, I think there's a good amount of sweet oak, not a dry oak. on this one, which I think adds to that kind of blending everything together. I think for us, like the profile we find, this is a crusher for 121 proof. Like, I'm not saying you should sit here and crush it, but it's that dangerous type pour where it's a little bit sweet and it's right there, and it's like, man, you might have one and really think that the proof didn't get you, but like it's going to come up and bite you in the ass if you have 2 or 3, so be careful. But I feel like it's that sweet oak really just kind of blends everything together. The other thing I'd say is the mouthfeel is killer on this, just like right in the middle of, it's not coating your mouth too much, but it's not too thin. Like I've said this before for other pours, this is totally a Goldilocks pour for me. It's like it's not too hot, it's not too cold, it's just right.
Yeah, I think the wettish type oak, or however you want to describe it, definitely to me is what makes the finish better and more memorable, because it's not that dry, parching feeling.
Yep.
It's a little smoother, flows down, not quicker, but just kind of easier on you.
But anyways, I would agree with you, right? That finish is super memorable. It's got the good pop. We know what we think about it. I think it's pretty solid to say we're both buys on this. How do you feel like this compares to A?
I tried to think about that earlier, and it's been more than a minute, so I don't remember that 110%, but I do remember, as always, people, as soon as they see the proof, then if it's not above 125 or 130, they start, hemming and hawing, and, it's not going to be a good one. It's not going to be strong enough, yada, yada, yada. But to revert back to this one, because literally, like I said, I just don't remember that first batch enough. I think anyone that complains or doesn't buy this or get excited about it because they see the proof, they're doing themselves a disservice. I mean, it gets right there so good and then just rides it out. Like if you chase proofs or whatever people want to call it, this one will surprise you. No, it's not going to scald you like a hazmat, but it's hitting harder than 121.
But I don't want it higher. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
no, I mean, not even the proof, just the profile. I don't want any higher. I mean, it could be 128 and be softer. It could be 120 and be hotter.
Yeah.
But where this profile lands is, to me, about as fine tuning as you can get on one, especially for a batched product.
And I really don't want them to sit there and just like high proof for a proof chaser. It's like proof each batch to where it needs to be. I think they did an amazing one here. I think this is perfect the way it is.
Yeah. And then I guess as a random tidbit for anyone that's fooling around doing blending or anything of that these days, I think the body that this would give to some other product that maybe had a little more sweet or different notes, you could probably craft out something pretty fun.
I agree. As always, thank you to Lauren at Heaven Hill for sending us a sample of this. We always enjoy drinking Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. I know we're going to have Larceny Barrel Proof here soon. Zeke, I think next week I'm finally going to get out the Clay Risen interview. And it just was 2 hours. I didn't have the stamina. I know you don't listen to us, so you know that hasn't come out yet, but I just didn't have the stamina to do all that editing. I do now. I was really good for like the good 30-minute hitters, and then if it was over that, I was like, I gotta take a nap. So apologies to Clay. That was one of the most amazing conversations we've had on this show, and I can't wait to get that out to all of you. We have stuff coming up with Grand Marnier. We have other interviews that will be coming down the line. We have other reviews coming down the line. So a lot. It is going to be a busy June for the dads. July and August are going to be busy for us in other ways. And September. So busy rest of the year for the dads. We can't wait to kick it in. I'm glad we got both of our sicknesses out of the way early, but we'll talk to you all soon.
I did get caught up recently. I just actually thought that I waited so late to get kind of caught up that I'd missed it that far back.
No. Go ahead and find us on Facebook at Dad's Drinking Bourbon, Twitter, Bourbon Dads, Instagram at Dad's Drinking Bourbon. Please leave us an open and honest review about our show, just like we leave open and honest reviews about the whiskey we drink. Zeke, where else could the folks find us?
Good old Nashville, Tennessee, and maybe even the Kentucky Barbecue and Bourbon Challenge in a couple of weekends.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about that again for next week. Cheers.
Ciao.